Jane Buick and the other new research fellow, Stephen Bottrell, have been invited to take tea with one of Queen's most eminent and venerable scholars. Sir Harold Bailey was appointed to the chair of Sanskrit at Cambridge in 1936.
The person or Iran room, it starts over in the corner with the oldest texts, the Rig Veda, coming right down historically. Here you have all the Indo-European books here. All the languages are represented somewhere in the collection. And up there are gifts from Tehran. And this is a collection of articles sent to me by various scholars over 50 years. And those are articles I wrote myself. If you just glance here, take one of these. Perhaps this is the one with the darkest writing on it. One of the bits has been so much used. This is just a photograph from the Parsis in Bombay. And that is the writing before the Arabs came to Persia. The text which is an encyclopedia of all the main Zoroastrian doctrines. So in itself it's extremely interesting. And for the last 150 years people have been saying they'd make an edition. I was going to do so in 1933, stopped, now started again.
Do it now.
I altogether finished. I thought 4 years then, the 3 more might be enough. 7 years on it. Yes. It states that there was first of all a man called Gayumart, a kind of primeval man, and then you come to the first humans. It said they place a purified type of seed in the earth, and from that they grow. Then it goes on, Chehil Sal and der Zamik Boed, dat verwandekie Chehil Sol, Repas Carpe Evach Stoen, Ponsda Varg Machre Machrane, het Zamik Aparusten. That is to say, if you put it into the English, this seed was 40 years in the earth. At the completion of 40 years, as a rhubarb plant, in form with one stalk, with 15 leaves, Mahre the man and Mahrane the woman grew up from the earth.
You were just saying, as modern linguists, we feel very humble.
It's a different
We don't need to
approach,
cope with the same kind of problems. at
What
all.
is your field in French? What are you doing?
My work is on Flaubert, 19th century, so it doesn't really present any of the
It doesn't have
problems.
philological problems.
No. But for yours, your Dante would be old, 15th century.
Oh,
yes.
yes.
12th, 13th century.
Yes, but luckily the philological problems have been sorted out by
Yes, I know.
earlier generations, I'm glad to say.
Yes.
To a very large extent, anyway.
So what do you actually do in your research?
I'm looking at possible influences on Dante from 12th century theology, specifically St. Bernard, but it's obviously it's interpretative rather than textual or anything like that.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And what about you?
Oh dear, mine doesn't really sound quite so scholarly. It's looking at themes of death and sensuality in the works of Flaubert. Except that it's a
more interesting.
I only have one manuscript which I bought in a second-hand shop in Cambridge. It contains a list of all the priors of Florence.
Really?
And as they change every 2 months, you see, they had quite a lot to write up.
So, how many languages do you speak altogether?
I'm not a speaker of languages. I try to speak English, that's about all. But
The question really is how many he reads.
Yes.
reading
Perhaps
all
that
right.
would be-
But I don't think I'd be very worried if I were dropped in some of the countries of which I've been reading books.
Yes.
It wouldn't take long before I could ask what you wanted.
How
But,
many can you actually read, do you reckon?
It's impossible to count them, I think. Everything necessary for the work. Some easily and some less, of course. It's annoying to me when they write a lot of important stuff in Japanese. But although I can read with a dictionary, it takes time. Whereas for Russian, you see, or any European language, it's usually only occasional reference to a dictionary. Quite simple, in fact.
Well, the thing about arts research is that there's no teamwork at all. You declare that there has been no collaboration whatsoever involved in your PhD. So it's you and the library and the books and the materials, and you just get down to it. And that's what I do nearly all the time. It's basically, all I do is sit there and work away. So that it's rather nice to have the fellowship and the college as a context for that, because it could be extremely lonely. I mean, at times in Cambridge it has been extremely lonely just doing that, without feeling that there was much purpose to it. Certainly, I mean, that's been wonderful, having the research fellowship, that somebody has decided that I was sort of worth giving one to for a start. It's a tremendous sort of boost.
After lunch, in the senior combination room,
I still always recommend that at the end of the lecture series. Very, very useful little book
In
here.
a way, it seems silly not to, really. I mean, in fact, when I'm teaching course and people, I feel if they really want to know what I think, it's much quicker if they go and read the book than if they ask me.
though he retired nearly 20 years ago, Sir Harold Bailey is still part of college life. And even when at home working on Zoroaster, there's a powerful reminder of him here. When this portrait was commissioned, it was Sir Harold's wish that he should be painted not in gown and mortarboard, but in his robes of a Caucasian mountaineer as an honorary citizen of Tbilisi.
Yes. Well, let's describe it. Bottle of claret?